Welcome back to That's Unfortunate. This will be our first yap session back for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. I've missed it.
We're having espresso martinis, per usual.
Mm-hmm.
And we're feeling a little sleepy today.
Just a little. But that's why the espresso.
Yeah.
Give me about 10 minutes and I'm going to be really hyper.
Okay.
Maybe
Once
we'll
it
see.
kicks in.
Yeah. I want to talk about... I already know that you think this is a problem, but I just experienced it for the first time today. I was scrolling on Instagram, and there was a lady that was doing a video of her, like, baking a loaf of bread or something. It was really satisfying, but I couldn't watch the video because all I could hear was this.
She was breathing really hard?
So hard, and she wasn't close to the camera. She didn't have, like, a mic clipped to her or anything, so she was far.
Whoa.
It was so loud that I watched it for about 5 seconds and was like, I'm really, really distracted and couldn't watch any of it anymore.
Poor lady.
I know. It probably was the best loaf of bread ever. I hope she's okay. Now I think that I've created a new thing for myself where I'm going to be listening to people breathing in videos if I can hear them.
You, like, shattered your glass?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thankfully, when we did the trivia podcast, James was breathing into the mic just because his nose was like right up on
just
top
the right
of it.
angle, yeah.
But I could edit it out.
That's good.
Oh, at least I think I didn't hear any when I went back.
Yeah.
We went to another Broken Egg. Have you ever been there? It's like a brunch place, but it's a chain.
Yeah, I have, because they have pretty coffee cups, and I wanted to steal one of the coffee cups.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, didn't though.
Yeah. They do have pretty cups, and like every one you go to, it says the location on it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like a glorified Waffle House, basically. You can just get alcohol there.
Yeah.
Because my food was not good.
Yeah, I don't remember enjoying it.
But we went to the one beside the university, and just because that's like kind of the area we were in, and these girls walked in. It was like 10 of them. And they had clearly been out the night before.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the outfits they had on were so amazing. Like, it just made me want to be in college again. One girl had on sweatpants, but a dress. She had a dress on, sweatpants on under it, and high heels on.
Yeah.
But 2 or 3 of them had high heels on, but, like, loungewear on at the same time. And they looked so hungover.
Yeah. They clearly had been out, went for breakfast, and they were like, you're going to wear that? I don't have any other shoes. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like maybe they were visiting or something and they didn't have any other clothes.
Wild to not have a single other pair of shoes.
I know, but
they needed their breakfast.
But that was fun. Maybe miss college.
I don't think I ever wore anything like that out, though.
I don't think so either. But it just made me think about going out in college and getting drunk. Mm-hmm. And like everybody, like all your friends were right there. It was so easy to hang out.
Yeah.
Just a fun time. Where are you at on The Handmaid's Tale? Have you been watching it anymore? Oh.
No, I don't know what's happened this week, but I don't think I've watched any TV until I started Love is Blind today. The last thing that really happened was, like, Miss Waterford burned down the house. Amazing.
Iconic.
And then she, like, went to her mom's house and they had a prayer session over her where everybody knew her business and she was pissed off at her mom. And then there was, like, I guess, like, baptism for the new babies. Mm-hmm. So not a lot has happened.
Well, I feel like this is the point where you start to, like, almost, like, kind of like Serena.
Really?
Or, like, not really like her. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you could ever like her because she's the worst. But she has, like, these little moments, like, redeeming moments. And then you're like...
Yeah, there's some moments where, like, she's talking to June and not being a raging asshole to her. Mm-hmm. I keep waiting for her to get out and, like, to end up in Canada. Serena. To get out and end up in Canada, but I need to watch it
again. It's like, does she even want out?
Mm-hmm.
It's like one
There was
moment
that.
she seems like she wants out,
Mm-hmm.
and then the next moment she's like, no, I believe in this so much.
Mm-hmm. Make up your mind.
She's a very like contradicting character.
Mm-hmm. Which that actress does a great job.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how she did that.
Yellow Jackets is back on. This is just our portion of the pod where we're just going to talk about TV, I guess. They released the first 2 episodes, I think, like at the same time, right at the beginning. And then maybe the third one's out. I haven't watched the 3rd episode yet.
Okay.
I've kind of been procrastinating on TV myself
Mm-hmm.
because I've been editing a lot. Like literally, I filmed a video yesterday making tomato soup, and it took me 3 hours to cook it because I'm having to stop and move the camera and make sure everything looks nice and clean while you're doing it. Like it took me 3 hours to cook tomato soup, which is crazy. And then I had to edit it. That took me about 2 hours.
I mean, it was really pretty
Yeah.
and really satisfying.
But that's why I'm behind on my TV.
Because you're on a different TV.
Making my own TV.
Mm-hmm.
But also there's a new movie called Out the Gorge that I've been saying I'm going to watch for a week.
I've heard you say that. You haven't watched it
So
yet?
I've not watched it. I might watch it on the plane if I have to.
They might even have it
Maybe.
on their screen.
I can download it if
They'll
they
have stuff.
I'm going to Ireland in 4 days. I leave 4 days from right now. But I'm really excited, but I'm also really nervous because planes be just falling out of the sky lately. What the fuck?
I saw a thing that was like a statistic on planes and how less planes have actually been having issues than they used to, and we're just seeing the videos now, kind of.
Yeah, I saw that.
I don't know.
And it said, like, statistically in 2024, by this time, there was more crashes than right now. But the plane crashes are getting coverage, so the media is posting it more this year or something.
Yeah.
And that could all be bullshit.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take that and I'm going to say, oh,
Now I can
I'm
go
going
on
to
a
be so
flight.
fine.
Yeah.
Because the longest flight I've ever done is, I think, 4 hours. So there's 2 flights I have to do. One's like 2 hours, and then the other one's 7. So 7 hours is like driving to the beach for us.
It'll go by fast, though. It won't be that bad.
Yeah. I'm hoping it will. I'm hoping I can sleep.
They really, they put that TV in front of you. They feed you. There's a lot of comfort. It's not that bad. My very first international flight I ever did, I sat like in the very, very middle seat in the back of the plane, and something was up with their AC, and so there was condensation on the ceiling of where we were sitting, and it was dropping on me the whole flight.
Oh, God.
And of course, like at some point, I said, "Excuse me, flight attendant, I'm wet. Please help." I think I was like 19 or 20. 20 or 21. And flying, and I just was like, "Can you help me, please?" And they were like, "Yeah, we're so sorry, but if we make that stop, then the air conditioning is off, and then you'll just be hot. So wet or hot," kind of is what they were acting like. And I was like, okay. Then now thinking about it, I should have like complained and gotten a free flight.
Or some
free-
points or something.
Yeah. But back then I just was like, oh, that's okay, because now I'm in Germany.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah. You should have complained.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen to you. I've never been on another flight that's like that. That was so bizarre to me.
I'll just be happy if my plane makes it there.
It's
and
gonna.
Also makes it back.
It's gonna.
Because I would like to survive. Thank you, universe. Before we get off of TV too far, I want to talk about SNL.
Okay.
If you don't know, SNL was celebrating their 50th, and they basically had like a red carpet event. and had a bunch of celebrities there, mostly like celebrities that had been on the show before. There were some like Meryl Streep. She's never been on there, but she was on that episode, and it was amazing.
I bet it was.
Like some of them were in sketches, but then other ones were just like in the crowd, and they like cut to them for a millisecond and like had a little blip of a line and moved on because there were so many. Obviously, they've had 50 seasons. Best thing I've ever watched in my whole life. My Super Bowl. That was my Super Bowl because I don't know. I love SNL. Even if I watch an episode of SNL and I don't laugh, like the jokes just don't land with me, I still love watching it because I just like the process of it and just the thought of like a live show where all these weird theater kids have this cool job where they can
That is all it is.
Yeah. Where they can just, I don't know, make little jokes and skits, and I love it so much. So watching it, I was just like smiling the whole time. And they mostly did like the big sketches that you've seen over the years that have done really well. And they brought some people back that were in those sketches, and so it was just like a little moment. I don't know. It was very good. There was a few people that didn't come, and I think one of them is like Bill Hader. I love him, and he has like a really big sketch on there that they redid. Or maybe they didn't redo it, but it was noted that he wasn't there because he was a cast member for so long. Somebody like reached out or figured out, or maybe it's just a rumor on the media, and it said he had a scheduling conflict.
Okay.
And then other people were saying that he doesn't have a good relationship with Lorne Michaels, which is the creator of SNL. But my thing is, if I was a celebrity and I was invited to that, I would do everything in my power to go because that's probably one of the coolest things that will ever happen. There were old people on that, like legends were on that episode. That might be the last time you ever see them perform. Let me read some of them that performed. Like musical people is what I'm really kind of getting at. But there was also other old people that were on the show that came that you might never see in anything else again. And to miss that, if you're invited, is crazy to me. So yeah, Paul McCartney, who was a member of the Beatles. He is 82. And like you could tell he was having like trouble belting, you know? So like, and I don't know if he still sings or not.
Yeah.
Publicly, I'm not sure. But he's 82. Come on, people. You might not see him again. Paul Simon. Who's Paul Simon? Hold on.
Simon and Garfunkel. Garf something.
Yeah. I thought you were fucking with me.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. He became famous in the 1960s as part of the duo Simon and Garfunkel.
I didn't make that up.
Well, you never know with you.
No, I couldn't with that one. It's not like my Pokemon names. Maybe I could. I don't know.
Miley Cyrus and Brittany Howard. And they performed together. Sabrina Carpenter. She performed with, I think she sang with Paul Simon. Like
Nice.
they did and then Lil Wayne. That was crazy.
Was it?
Yeah, and he did like his like classics like Lollipop and stuff. Like that was pretty cool. But anyways, amazing. Loved it so much. My Super Bowl, best thing ever. Kenan Thompson never ages. That man. They showed a bunch of like clips of sketches over the years. That man looks exactly the same.
That's awesome. Was like Adam Sandler on it? Or like Kristen Wiig? Yeah? Oh man. I need to actually watch it.
Oh my gosh, it's really good. Adam Sandler was there. He also sang a song. You know, Adam Sandler's a big little goofy song guy. He sang a song about it being like the 50th, and then they did some tributes to like people who had passed, like Chris Farley.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Adam Sandler were really close, I think. So he got kind of emotional while he was singing. It was really sad.
Oh.
Tina Fey and Amy Poehler.
Yeah?
They were both on there, and they were, did
Good.
some stuff together, which I love that duo. Jason Momoa was there.
I do need to watch it. It was
so
a lot.
Good. Funny enough, Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively were there.
Wow.
Here's some internet drama that you might not know about.
In public. I figured they were going to go to the mountains and hide for a while.
I know. And they did a thing. So, like, they said,
Really?
Ryan Reynolds is here. I think this was the Tina Fey and Amy Poehler thing. And it panned to them in the audience, and Ryan stood up. And Blake, like, was just looking up at him, and she was like, "What's been going on?" Tina Fey said that. And he was like, "Why? What have you heard?" So they're making a joke about it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh. And then Blake was, like, looking up at him, smiling, and she was like, and then there's this whole speculation on the internet that she didn't know that he was going to do that. Come on, people.
They knew about that. Yeah, there's no way.
It was all staged, but
always,
whatever.
Yeah.
People are
There's
dramatic.
no way they didn't know about that. Their PR would be having a field day.
Yeah.
And then we would hear, like, the actual...
Mm-hmm. Their PR told them to do that.
Yes. That was a part of it.
Yeah.
And now people are talking about that instead of what actually was happening.
Mm-hmm.
Smart. That's what happens when you have a lot of money.
Yeah. So many good people on there. I cannot even name them all because there were so many people. But, and still speaking of SNL, I don't remember what episode it was, but it was one of the more recent ones. Timothy Chalamet hosted.
Mm-hmm.
And when they introduced him, they said he was the host and musical guest. And I was like, Timothy Chalamet sings? I did not know that. And I do love him, but, like, I guess I just didn't know that about him. Well, he doesn't really. He is in a movie starring as Bob Dylan. Like, he's playing Bob Dylan.
Mm-hmm.
And so he, at his musical guest thing, where he, because the musical guest sings in the middle and then kind of towards the end, he sang Bob Dylan songs. And then I looked up, like, what Bob Dylan used to look like, and him and Timothy Chalamet really do look alike.
Mm-hmm. I don't know why, but I kind of thought that Timothy Chalamet started off, like, on Broadway.
Probably. It says Timothy Chalamet made his Broadway debut in 2016.
Yeah. It's because I might not know anything about anything, but when they've been on Broadway, I might know that. Because I'm a little bit, like a tiny, tiny bit of, like, a theater nerd.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of it, just a little bit.
Hell yeah.
Like, if you were a really big theater person, I couldn't talk to you. Because I would just embarrass myself. But because you're not, and I am a little bit more, like, I can say it.
Mm-hmm.
Without feeling silly.
I'm not like, yeah, I'm not at all. But at the same time, I like it. Like, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I wish I was more into it. And I think it's the older I'm getting, the more, like, I'm, like, willing to just really get into it. And I love seeing, obviously I love SNL, and I love that they're all just theater people up there doing their damn thing. So, yeah.
Like, it's hard to, like, be a theater person as an adult. Like, it's a lot easier if you start off, like, a young teenager or something.
Yeah.
And then it just, like, keeps going for a while. You know, I just happened to go to a fine arts high school, so I was around all of the theater people.
Yeah. Yeah. Here in this small town, like, there's just not really any of that. I was in drama club, and I was in some plays in middle school. And then high school didn't have a drama club, but they had senior play. So when I was that whole time I was in high school, I was like, I can't wait. And I went to senior play every year. I even went to senior play when I was in middle school because some of my cousins were older than me, and they were in the plays. And I remember loving it so much. It felt so, like, fantastical to me. And then could not wait until my senior play, and I auditioned, and I was the Wicked Witch of the West, bitch. In Wizard of Oz. But yeah, so I've always liked it, but, like, there's just not, like, a big
Yeah.
part of that here. I went and seen
Makes
The
me
Lion
want to
King.
go, like, be a theater teacher.
Yeah.
And get, like, the next generation to do a musical every year or something. That's crazy that they don't, because I feel like that's so nice. It's so good. It can bring so much arts into the school, which is so good for kids' development. But that's a different topic that I could talk about for a while.
Yeah.
I was watching this video of this girl that has a Yorkshire accent,
Okay.
which is like northern United Kingdom. So it sounds rough to listen to. And she sings in that accent, which is really funny because, like, the accent that you sing in isn't the same that you talk in, because your brain uses, like, you use a different side of your brain to sing than you do to talk. So you don't have an accent when you sing. If you do have an accent, it's because you're, like, trying to make that be a thing. So you ever hear, like, English people singing and they just sound normal to you, like, no accents, because they're using a different part of their brain. So she'll sing and it's like, don't you know? I wish I could, like, actually do it, because it's so funny. It makes me giggle so hard.
Oh my gosh.
I can't do it, though.
I couldn't tell you what a Yorkshire accent was, but go ahead and play this excerpt.
I might have to, because otherwise I'm going to sound like a ridiculous person. I just sounded Canadian.
I'm from Yorkshire, and I tell people all the time that I
Can you hear
can't
your
sing in
accent?
my own accent because it sounds like I'm gargling gravel. They don't believe me. People also think that my accent's fake, but if I could choose an accent, do you think I'd choose to sound like this? I sound like I've been picked on 3 times today, all because of my trousers. Do you know what? People still don't believe me. So on this week's episode of Em Ruins a Song with Her Accent, we're going to do some more Taylor Swift. I stay out till late, got nothing in my brain. That's what people say.
So good.
Did you know what she was referencing because of her trousers?
Mm-mm.
The internet. There's just this video of this kid, and he's like, I've been picked on 3 times today, all because of my trousers. And that's what she was referencing, and that's why you need to
Know the internet.
figure out the internet.
Because you did giggle pretty hard, and I was like, oh, that's funny. I just thought you were laughing because she said trousers, which is funny.
Yes, it is funny, but it was a reference.
I gotta go home and practice that accent. I'll come back.
Yorkshire.
I'll come back and do it for you.
Work on that for me.
I can do like a English accent, but that's about it.
I still haven't finished SNL. Sorry, I have a lot of things to cover
That's okay.
about SNL.
It was your Super Bowl.
It was my Super Bowl. My Super Bowl just happened. I've seen a lot of SNL, but probably only like when I started watching it on. Like I haven't went back and watched the really old stuff. Because a lot of the SNL jokes are current things that are happening. So I just kind of thought, I just never thought to go back because, I don't know, I might not get it. But then seeing SNL 50, I was like, oh no.
Got to.
I got to go back and I've got a really deep dive into 50 years worth of television. And so I was trying to decide, do I want to go back and start at season 1 when I don't even know some of those people? And I was like, I will eventually. But right now, I'm going to start when Adam Sandler was on because love him. I Googled it. It said 1991. That's season 17. And so I went back, pushed play, or went down to episode 1 of that. Michael Jordan is the host. I'm like, oh my gosh, I know who that is. Space Jam. Not because of basketball.
Like you might have offended some people with that one.
Jam.
But same.
I mean, yeah, obviously. I don't watch basketball, but I know he's a basketball player. But
I know what that is.
I know what it is. And mostly,
Sort of.
I know him from Space Jam. So I turn it on. We've got Adam Sandler, David Spade, Chris Farley, and the other guy who was in Grown Ups. Can't remember his name at this very moment, but stacked cast. Also Chris Rock, which I don't love Chris Rock. He's yelling too much most of the time, but it's fine. Rob Schneider.
Yeah.
All right, so Adam Sandler, Rob Schneider, David Spade. They're all on Grown Ups together because they're all besties. And I think Adam Sandler produced that film, right?
I think so. Directed it probably. Something like that.
Tim Meadows. I've seen him in a couple things. He was on The Office for that one special episode. Chris Rock, Mike Myers, Chris Farley. Great one to start on. And I also was like, okay, the 90s. I was born in the 90s. I might understand some of this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so I get started. We have one reference to Pee Wee Herman. I'm like, okay.
I know who that is.
I know about that. I never watched it, but I know like what that is, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It's in like the opening skit. There's a Pee Wee Herman reference. People laugh. I'm like, okay, that's just one of the things I don't get. Because I still, current SNL episodes, shit will go right over my head. Because there's a lot of political sketches, and sometimes I don't know who those people are.
Right.
I'm like, okay, whatever. 2 skits in, Pee Wee Herman. And so I'm like, okay.
What's the scandal?
Weird that we've talked about Pee Wee Herman twice now. We get a third Pee Wee Herman reference. And I'm like, okay, something happened with Pee Wee Herman. Because there's no way they've talked about Pee Wee Herman 3 times. So I Googled it. Long story short, in 1991, the actor who played Pee Wee Herman was arrested for indecent exposure at an adult movie theater in Sarasota, Florida. I don't think that they have those really anymore. Like where you can go like to a theater and watch porn.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Okay. So he was
I think.
masturbating at a public porn video.
Basically. And then the article I read about it that night, it said that he got arrested for it. And as he was being arrested, he told the cops like who he was. And they were like, okay. And they were like, he was like, we'll do like a fundraiser or we'll donate some money to the police department if you don't arrest me. But they arrested him anyways.
Good.
As they should. And I deep dove into it a little bit, and I wish I would have took some notes on it or whatever so I can give you a better little rundown. But basically, that's when they like took it off the air after that scandal, and a lot of people were mad. There was actual people protesting, like with the picketed signs and stuff to put Pee Wee Herman back on. Look at all the knowledge I learned from
You
SNL.
learned so much from SNL.
One of those episodes.
Yeah. The 90s are probably pretty crazy.
Pee Wee Herman scandal. And I've only watched one of them so far, but I'll keep going. Let you know what else I learned. Yeah. Because I've never heard of that.
Neither have I.
And then on the Timothy Chalamet side of things, you know he's dating Kylie Jenner? Yeah, they've been dating for a while. Or, I don't know, maybe like less than a year. But people love to hate the Kardashians. And they're all the time like talking shit about how they're only famous because Kim had a sex tape and that they're all rich because of it. I'd drop one right now if that meant I was about to be a Kardashian. But so and like, I don't know, I think like certain actors, people like hold close. So then when it came out that Kylie and him were dating, people are pissed. Talking about how what do they even talk about? All this other stuff. I'm like, she is just a human. And I think they're really cute together, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the really popular girl and the theater kid. And they love each other. I don't know. And you see clips of them like laughing and kissing and like touching, and he just looks so happy. I'm like, y'all are really being weird on the internet. Let them be happy.
People are like that though. They have to try to ruin love.
Yeah. But I think that they're adorable. That was literally on my list.
To say that they're adorable.
It says Timothy Chalamet and Kylie Jenner. Also, I think you say his name Timothée. He has like a little thingy on the top of the last E.
He's like French Canadian, right?
I think so.
Yeah. It's probably not the same as Timothy, but that's not how I'm going to say it because
that's not how anybody says it. But I've seen things on TikTok that are like, it's actually Timothée. I'm like, okay.
Well, if I was up there, I'd probably say it the right way, but I'm not. Like if I go to another country and somebody tells me their name in the way that they pronounce it, I'm going to say it the way that they do it. But he didn't tell me directly to call him that, so I'm just going to keep saying Timothy.
That's like, we've always said Rihanna. Apparently it's like Rihanna. And I've like seen a clip of her, I think, or maybe I just read something where she said, yeah, everybody just called me that and I never corrected them.
Yeah.
It's Rihanna. I'm so sorry.
Correct people in the first place then.
And speaking of Rihanna, wow, segue. I don't know if they're married, but they have children together, I believe. A$AP Rocky, that is her partner at least. He was on trial for a while, facing like 24 years in prison.
For what? Do you know?
He had a gun, is what the charges were for. Had a gun and shot at somebody, and it only grazed his knuckles, but whatever the charge is for attempted to shoot somebody, maybe. Also, I'm saying all of this with little to no knowledge. It's just what I've been scrolling through TikTok and absorbing.
Yeah.
But his like thing was like, no, I never had a gun. I had a prop gun on me from Rihanna's music video. That's the only gun I had on me. And like the police went to the scene and investigated, and they didn't find any like evidence that there was a gunshot fired. Like there was no casings, there was no they couldn't find a bullet anywhere. So charges were dropped, or not dropped, but he was found not guilty.
Yeah.
I think like 3 days ago or something. And I think the trial's been going on for a long time. Trials most usually do go on for a while. But when when the verdict was like read and he was like found not guilty, he jumped like over the thing and ran to Rihanna and like hugged her and kissed her, and they were so happy.
Good.
Yeah. That wasn't on my list, but I've been seeing
You were
that.
consuming that information. Yeah.
And it was cute. And A$AP Rocky's kind of hot.
Yeah, I knew nothing about any of that.
Just if you wanted my opinion
Obviously.
on A$AP Rocky's appearance.
I don't know who that is. A rapper?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's this sound on TikTok, and it's of Rihanna going, "What's up, Rocky?" And I really am going to play it for you right now.
Okay.
And people make edits to it about him. Let me play it again.
What's up, Riri? What's up, Rocky?
Like, that just sounds like a really cute boy flirting with a really pretty girl, and she's like, hee hee. I don't know.
Yeah.
One of those things that don't make sense to people, but it makes sense in my head.
That doesn't mean it doesn't make sense to other people.
Well, just why I'm obsessed with it. I have like a little obsession with that clip, that sound particularly. I like them. They're cute together also. Stamp
love.
of approval.
February is almost over, but we still can love.
Mm-hmm. Last season of Handmaid's Tale comes out in April.
I know, so I gotta hurry up.
Yeah.
You think you're gonna rewatch all of it somehow?
Yeah, probably. Honestly. It's really not that much.
It's 4 seasons.
Yeah, which doesn't seem like a lot, but the episodes are long.
Yeah.
I said I was going to rewatch Yellow Jackets before this season came out, but I did not. But Yellow Jackets, that second episode, or maybe it's the first episode, something happened and they played a really scary soundtrack to it. And I was like, I'm watching a horror film.
Oh no.
And I got really scared for a second. And when the moment passed, it was like a little scary figure standing behind somebody. And he was like, Dinner! And when the moment passed, I said to Aaron, I was like, well, that was scary as fuck. He's like, yeah, I did not like that.
He's like, yeah, I'm gonna have nightmares about that later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like you can give spoilers because I don't think I can handle watching it. Like from your description of it and from like the little bitty clips I've seen on Netflix as I've scrolled past it, I think it would give me nightmares. And maybe someday I'll be up for it, but I don't know.
Like, spoilers, I literally can't even say, like, oh, I'm about to tell you something. It's going to be spoilers. Because I don't know what's fucking going on.
Okay, cool.
Like, I still am not sure what happened out there. They're doing just a very good job of like keeping you in suspense. And I guess that's what I like about it. I love the suspense. I love the dark and the depressing and the drama. I don't know. I keep waiting for like the
Mm-hmm.
and I haven't got it yet, but they are building you up. Something and
Be
so
nice
like
if they would like give you a conclusion per episode.
yeah. But they're not.
No.
And I mean they give you some, but obviously, but some of these people should be in jail. They literally killed a man. In present day, the grown-ups.
Mm.
And I'm like, how are you not in jail? The coach is the big thing. That's going to be the shoe that drops. Because the coach left the group because he was not down with cannibalism.
Fair.
They think he's dead. We didn't know at the end of the last season if he was alive or dead.
Mm-hmm.
They just showed us him.
So now
But
you
they
know.
have not showed us present day coach.
Uh-oh.
So did they eat him? Did they kill him? Did they kill him in present day? So a lot of people are saying like Melanie Linsky, whoever she's playing.
Okay.
Shauna keeps having hallucinations of her best friend, Jackie, who they did consume while they were out there. And also, by panic, she loved her for sure.
Oh.
And we've all said that. For the first season, everybody was like, no, Shauna loves Jackie. That's not just her best friend. She's in love with her. And you can never really prove it. Well, she just kissed a girl the last episode. Now we know she likes girls. And now we know that she was in love with Jackie. But
they consumed her.
They did eat her, but they didn't kill her and eat her. She died of her own accord.
Oh.
And they were starving. They had to. Thankfully, it's winter. She was kept on ice. Shit, what was the point I was getting at?
I don't know. I'm distracted by the cannibalism part of it, you know?
She's been hallucinating Jackie on and off ever since she died. Because when they were in the wilderness, they're all going a little crazy sometimes because they're starving. And bad shit keeps happening to them. But in present day, she's still hallucinating teenage Jackie. Which is that actress with the big eyes I like.
Oh,
So I love to see her, even though she's dead. I'm so glad they keep giving her back to me. She said something along the lines of, you need to be punished for not just what you did out there, but what you did when you got back. That was what I was trying to say. That maybe, I'm wondering if when they got back, they killed Coach Ben. Because they didn't want him to tell anybody that they ate people out there.
Probably. But also, I hope you're wrong so that you can enjoy the plot twist that much more.
I know, me too.
Because it's fun to find out a plot twist, but it's even more fun to be wrong about a plot twist and then to be surprised by something. It is satisfying both ways. Do you ever like watch a show and say what you think is going to happen out loud to Aaron, and then like it happens and you're like, haha, I knew it. I've done that before and said like, oh, I think this is going to happen to James, and then been so wrong.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I thought that too. That's okay. I'm like, thanks for supporting me, but you didn't think the same thing, I don't think.
I'm a big like plot twist guesser.
Yeah,
so I've
but you're
guessed
good
right
at guessing.
and I've guessed wrong, but I'm gonna say it.
I don't always
want to
say
be
it, but
right.
I'll think it. But what I will do is say, what do you think is going to happen? And wait for him to say his feelings so I can be like, okay, yeah, same.
Yeah. Well,
Sometimes I do, but it depends like what we're watching. I feel like we've ended up
Yeah.
with a lot of kind of like murder case shows lately.
I don't do it to the point where it's annoying where I'm like, oh, this is gonna happen. I'll just be like, when it's over, I'm like, that was weird. Wonder what they meant by that. I bet this might happen. I don't do it all the time out loud, but I do it sometimes if
Yeah.
people are susceptible.
Yeah.
It is a really good show. It's just like, they better give me something. Oh, another cool thing about it is, so the first season when they crashed, it was like kind of everything was green, but then almost immediately we went into winter. think they were out there for 2 years before they were rescued, by the way. So a long time. And it went into winter. We've still got so many girls.
Mm-hmm.
And one guy who does live because we see him in the future, but he like commits like 3 episodes in or something. So like we don't even see him really as an adult other than his dead body.
Wow.
But we know he makes it out. But like there's even at this point right now, there's a whole team, a soccer team of girls out there.
Mm-hmm.
And in the present day, we're only seeing 5 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So where are the other ones? Did they eat them? There's still so much up in the air about what happened to the others. Now, this most current season opened up. It's spring. So there's bunny rabbits, deer. They're hunting. They're not hungry. You're seeing like them almost like flourish.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing so well. Their cabin burnt down, which there's theories that it was Coach Ben burned it down, trying to kill them because they ate Jackie, and he wasn't cool with it. There's also theories that one of the girls who's been having some issues burn it down. Like she's been having like going to sleep and sleepwalking and doing weird stuff. They've built these like little like teepees out of sticks. They're very beautiful, like neat, intricate teepees that they've built. They almost look fake.
Yeah.
Like they almost look so clearly a set made for a TV show because they're so neat in uniform. And they're having like they had like a little festival where they were like, oh, let's make it like a
celebrate.
Yeah, like a Midsummer's Eve party or whatever. And they did all this stuff and they made like a soup and it looks all beautiful. There's a theory online that says, and like I would never think of this on my own. This is why I love the internet. Like you told me this and I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's such a good point. Which maybe it would be more surprising to me if I didn't have people theorizing for me. But they said that they're literally descending into madness. We see it multiple times. And how picture perfect everything looks is another form of their madness that you're seeing. Because how do they have all this stuff? I guess they have the plane wreckage. But like, you're telling me those girls that been out there 1 year built these intricate, beautiful looking teepees out of sticks and
these teenage girls.
Like, half of them are lesbians, but like, how handy can they be? I don't know. Like, that's so cool because also in like the season 1, one of the girls had found a mouse in the cabin that they were in, and she was keeping it secret because she didn't want anybody to eat it.
Oh,
and so she would like go and like take it out of her pocket. She held it in her pocket all the time and she would pet it and like love on it and give it like little pieces of food all the time. Tell me why I watched her and this mouse for a whole season, loving this little mouse, being so like, oh yeah, don't let anybody eat the mouse. Mouse was dead the whole time. She was fucking hallucinating the mouse. She had found a dead mouse in the closet, picked it up, and was just holding it in her pocket, and she would pull out a dead, dried up mouse carcass and pet on it. And people talk about that, saying they showed us in that season how like their minds are betraying them. And this is another reason their minds are betraying them. They're sitting there feasting on soup. What if they killed somebody and that's eating, like, who are they actually eating? And oh my God.
And these teepees, like, what do they actually look like?
Yeah, and yes, literally.
Now you're stressed about what's going to happen at the end of the season.
I'm stressed, but I would like I hope that theory's right. I hope that we see them in the next episodes or at the end of this season, anything, and they like flip to an alternate reality of where like they're living in like shambles. The truth. And it's like this truth because I don't know. That'd be really cool. But that's enough Yellow Jackets, sorry.
It does sound like a good show. But I have nightmares. I don't know. I just don't know if I can do it.
It's scary.
It might be a show that like I have to watch at like 8 a.m. Yeah. So I can have a whole day
to like forget about it.
Yeah.
Well, after that episode where I was like, oh, wait, I think that was the first time I ever got, like, really scared by it.
Mm-hmm.
I was worried I was going to have nightmares, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Another thing on the list is I posted that TikTok of us talking about Kingfisher
Yeah.
and his name,
Being
Kingfisher, because
Sorry.
I hate that name, and a few people were upset. We made some waves.
Well, I'm sorry you guys feel that way, but it's kind of still stand by.
No, I still stand by it.
Uh-huh.
Terrible name. But that some people are saying like, well, that's not his real name. They said that, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, we know that. Like, we acknowledged that in the episode. We said,
Uh-huh.
hopefully we'll find out his true name and it'll be better.
Yeah.
Kingfisher as a fake name still sucks.
It does. And even if Fisher is your nickname, your name is still Kingfisher.
Mm-hmm. What can you do?
I don't mind, though, like, reading a book and the person's name being a name that, like, I don't know a single person that's their name. I'm glad his name isn't, like, John.
Yeah.
Like, it is different.
Mm-hmm.
We should think of some, well, we should tell the world about our, kind of like a joke that we play sometimes. This is inappropriate. Where we talk about, like, what a guy's name would sound like. Can I say it?
Yeah.
Moaning, their name.
Yeah. Like what it would sound like to moan certain men's names during,
You know, any type of intimacy. Kingfisher? Fisher probably wouldn't be bad, but, like,
yeah.
there's a lot of names I can think of immediately that I'm like, oh.
Oof. That'd be a hard one to say out loud
Uh-huh.
in the moment.
I want to list them, but I don't want to get in trouble. Gotta be careful not to, like, say anybody's name that you know.
I know. Let's see.
That was my first thought was...
We've done this before, but I'm trying to think of
and
them.
we've had some so funny ones.
Mm-hmm.
Such funny ones.
Just Bill. Bill is, like, Timon Bill.
I'm not gonna do it.
I'm not gonna do it.
But
we know. We do it whenever we...
yeah, like, we've been walking at the park.
And we're just a whole mile just moaning.
Names that we can think of. Nobody's ever around us.
No.
It's okay.
Just Philip.
Yeah, that one's a good one. A funny one.
You get the point. Do that next time you're alone with your
Ooh.
friends.
Chuck.
Chuck.
Yeah, next time. you're alone with
Actually,
your
I've heard
friends.
Blair Waldorf moan Chuck. And that's okay, actually.
Oh, okay.
Depends on what Chuck, I'd say.
I don't think I know any.
I know one Chuck.
You know what? I do know one. But, like, I don't know him.
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of, in passing, met him. He's kind of the reason that James and I met, but I don't actually know the man.
But if you really think about it, basically any man's name. It's just like...
Kind of, yeah.
But some of them are just funnier than others, is what we're getting at.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We need to move on to the next thing.
Right.
'Cause, yeah.
I've been making YouTube videos.
Mm-hmm.
And just editing them is making me so happy and it's so fun. So go check out my YouTube videos. That's on the list.
They're very satisfying.
I'm trying to make them satisfying.
Yeah. Like watching you cut into a tomato and an onion.
Mm-hmm.
Best 5 seconds of my life.
Thank God.
I loved it.
My video of tomato soup that I made yesterday, I took butter and then garlic and parsley and like mixed it up. I cut garlic without gloves on, which I never do. I always cut garlic and onion with gloves on
Mm-hmm.
because I hate the way like your hands smell.
For days sometimes.
Days,
Yeah.
dude. But I didn't want gloves in the video
Oh,
because it's just not as cute.
yeah. You can still smell it.
Garlic hands.
Yeah.
A vampire would never come and get me right now.
Mm-mm.
They're so stinky.
I'm sorry.
And I
It
made
does linger for forever.
it's so long, and I'll be like asleep. Like, no matter how long you wash your hands, I was asleep last night or falling asleep, and I sleep like the My hands are always on my face. And I'm like, oh, God. You do not want to smell garlic after the fact. It's so stinky. While you're cooking with it,
Delicious.
smells amazing, but like the afterthought of garlic is disgusting.
It'd be different if like I was cutting and it was on my hands like the next 3 washes.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I wash my hands a lot. It'll be there forever. Ugh. I also wear gloves, but I didn't always. So I used to just like walk around with onion hands.
Mm-hmm.
So stinky.
So stinky.
So James and I are going to go to London at the beginning of May. And he doesn't have a passport yet. So a couple of days ago, he was going to go on his lunch break and get his passport. You have to go to the post office, which is what I did in Texas too. I didn't know that that was like a universal thing. But you go to the post office, turn in your paperwork. It's usually not crazy painless. You just have to spend money on it. Painful is what I meant. And I just happened to have like a spare hour. And I was already in town when he was about to go to the post office. So I was like, hey, I had a rough morning. Can I go with you? And so he was like, yeah, of course. So got in his car, drove over to the post office, get there. And I had come over to your house that morning and made copies of the paperwork. Mm-hmm. And I printed off his paperwork, and I had some paperwork for myself too. And one of the pages of what was for him was like the top half of the word wasn't printed, but the bottom half was, so it like wasn't totally legible.
So
but I didn't go through it. Like I saw the top page, and the top page looked fine, and I didn't think anything of it. And then what I printed for myself looked fine, so I didn't think anything of it. Also, what an adult thing to do is to go over to your friend's house to print off documents. Like I didn't just turn 30, but that's fine.
I'm so sorry my printer failed you.
That's okay.
I'm really sorry.
It's not a big deal. Okay, so get there, and the lady is busy. She has a couple of people. James is like third in line. He talks to her. He doesn't even talk to her actually. She like pushes him to the side and is like, I'll get you in a minute. And he's like, okay, that's fine. I just have a 1 hour lunch break, but that's fine. And at some point she goes like, I don't know what this lady's name was, but Mary, can you take a photo for a passport for me? And so at some point, another person that didn't look like she was working at all took James into like a separate little corner and took his photo and then sent him back to the main lobby of the post office. And then finally 2 other people go by, and so then she's like, all right, come on. And she looks at James's paperwork, and because part of it's not fully on it, she was like, oh, no. Oh, no. And I knew before this that it was potentially questionable. So I have my laptop, and James has all the documents on his phone. And so he's like, but I have it. Can you print it for me? Because the USPS on Google says that they have printing services too. So I'm just assuming, like, why would that be a problem? Doesn't make any sense. So Mary, who took his photo, is like, well, he can send it to my Gmail and I can print it off for him. And the other lady's like, oh, you cannot send that information over email. And James and I are just like, okay, all right, cool. And so this lady goes, drive over 10 minutes to the public library and get the document printed off like perfectly and then come back over. And I don't know if you know this about James, but he is like anxious based off of like time constraints. So like if he doesn't come back to work within his allotted hour, he's kind of stressing about it and not super happy. Mm-hmm. So we get in the car and we drive over to the public library, and he's like, will you please go in there and print it for me? Because I don't think I can public right now. I was like, yeah, of course. So I go inside, I pay the 20 cents. Also, the people that have the printer at the public library, they're doing something to the printer in this moment. So I like quickly scurry in, and I'm like, hey, I need to print a couple of pages off of something. And she's like, okay. And I'm like, and she goes, well, the easiest way usually is for you to email it. It's like, okay, great. Which is what I'm not supposed to do at the U.S. Post Office. Right. But I don't think, hopefully that wasn't a big deal now that I think about it. Yeah, anyway, so she they finish doing whatever's happening. It didn't take that long. Luckily, I was so terrified that it was going to be like an hour-long process. Print it off, drive back over to the post office, hand her paperwork, and she like is like, I'll be right with you, to me and James. Helps 2 more customers. She starts to help James again, and she's like, oh, I think she said like, oh, bless it, about the paperwork being good. And while we're there, I noticed that when a woman talks to this specific woman, she's really rude. Immediately kind of like not chatting back to them. And I just kind of thought maybe she was a bitch, is what I thought. But, you know, that's fine. But then she starts to talk to James, and she's all like looking at his driver's license and looking at him like, this is not you. Oh my goodness. What a difference a haircut can make. Looking back and forth, because in his driver's license photo, his hair is shorter, so his front of his hair is over his forehead. And she's like, oh, wow, you look so different. And he's just like, kind of like, shut up. I gotta go, lady.
Mm-hmm.
And she keeps going on and on about how young he looks. And she's like, how old are you? And he tells her, and she's like, I would not have guessed that. Like, so interesting that you're so like vibing with men with James, but that woman before you were really, really rude to. So then she's doing the actual paperwork. She's doing her job. So proud of her.
Mm-hmm.
And she staples his birth certificate. And I immediately was like, can you put holes in birth certificates? That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, but she staples it to other documentation that clearly is like, he's not going to get it back today. So I said, because I don't remember, I got my passport like 8 years ago. I don't remember them taking my birth certificate with them. Me like mailing, I don't know.
I think
You think they did?
that they did take my birth
Probably
certificate
didn't
and then
staple
mailed
it.
it back to me.
That's what she said happens. I just don't remember that part of it, but okay.
I
So
forgot about that.
staples it, and I go, oh, so do you, like, when does he get his birth certificate back? And she goes, not today. He'll get it back, but not today. And I just said, okay. That was it. That's all she said to me. She's kind of typing, doing whatever on the paperwork. She's like, what's your mom's middle name? Because that wasn't filled out. What's your dad's middle name? James goes, how do I get my birth certificate back? Do they like mail it back to me? I'm assuming they mail it back to me. And she goes, oh, well, I was going to tell you that in a minute, but yeah, I guess I'll just go ahead and tell you now. Sweet as can be. Starts to tell him the process of, you will get your passport in 4 to 6 weeks, and then a little bit after you get your passport in the mail, you'll get your birth certificate in the mail. And that's just the way they do it. And he's like, okay, thank you for telling me. She goes on to help a couple of other customers in after that. Like, crazy that you're going to like switch up who you're talking to and who you're working with, whatever, but okay. Stops helping James, goes on to the next person. It's an older woman, and I'm assuming her mom, and they're processing like a money order or something. Can't fully understand, but whatever it is, like, there's a couple of numbers, and there's clearly like an address or a name that she's supposed to type in correctly. And so as she's typing, she's just like, is this the right letter? Check this information. Did I do that right? Oh, okay. And that's the amount. And the woman's like, yep, yeah, okay, thank you. Okay. The lady is as nice as can be. But the post office lady is like, okay, did I do this right? Like, okay, interesting. So then that lady's done. She goes away. And then an older gentleman, she comes to help him too. And I'm like, help us. We need to leave. We're past time.
Mm-hmm.
Older gentleman walks up, and she, again, is getting like maybe his pay stub. I can't really fully tell. But she starts to talk to him as happy as can be. Like, oh my goodness, Mr. So-and-so, she knows him by name. You got this? Oh, it's not even the first yet. You normally do this on the first, right? And he's like, well, not this month. I've got something. I'm just doing it early. And she's like, oh, okay. But then you normally come in on the third too, right? What's on the third? Tell me about the third. And he's just talking to her. And I just was baffled. I was like, oh, You are sexist. You are so openly anti-female. That blows my mind in this day and age. But whatever. And then that gentleman leaves, and there's 2 more people behind him. And luckily, she like stops those people and finishes with James so that he can pay and we can leave. But the second we got in the car, I was like, did you notice that woman? Did you notice how she was so nice to everybody with a penis and was so mean to everybody with boobies? I hated that.
Damn.
She also at some point, like, because there was a lot of people that came in and she was helping James, she like yelled at the top of her lungs this guy's name that I think should have come in to help her. Like, she was the only one. Excuse me. She was the only one doing anything. And at some point, top of her lungs, like, Kevin! Whatever this guy's name was. I don't know. I think it actually might have been Kevin. And this man just comes in like, what? And she's like, well, I'm trying to help this guy with his passport. Can you please help? And then he halfway helped one person and then left. So, you know.
The post office people never seem like they're having a good time.
They don't.
Kind of like the DMV people.
Yeah, she said something about them being short-staffed. Have I ever been to a U.S. post office and them seem like they are well-staffed? Not a single time. But that's okay.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know. She hates women, though. I know that for sure. I get it. Like, you are just trying to finish your day with the least complications. But don't you think at some point, like, you're making it harder on yourself? Like, if you would just be a little bit nicer, maybe your day would go by faster and easier. I don't know. I feel like when I'm in a better mood, my day is better in general.
Yeah. Bless him. Well, I guess we're going to end it there. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please go to our YouTube and subscribe. Monetize. That would be amazing. But also, I make personal YouTube videos. If you want to go to my YouTube, it's under Tori Jade. I've been making like vlogs and cooking videos, stuff like that.
Are we going to pod any before you leave?
If you have the time. Yeah, I'm gonna post this one like regular, but then I leave for Ireland on Tuesday and I'll be gone for like 9 days. But I'm hoping we can record one more episode and I can schedule it to post while we're
That's what I
gone
was thinking,
or while I'm
yeah.
gone. So,
But after that, on St. Patrick's Day, we'll be having a book club for
yeah.
Deep End.
So on St. Patrick's Day, that episode will be the book club for Deep End. We're going to have Lainey on and Alex on. Lainey will be the one recapping. Maybe a themed drink, or at least a blue drink.
We're going to have a themed drink. Yeah.
That'd be so fun. Thanks for listening. You guys are the best. Bye.